Good day, Cochrane. Welcome to another edition of Fireside Chat. I am Mayor Jeff Genung, sitting by the cozy fire on this nice spring day. I hope you're enjoying the weather. It's been warm. Ranch House is super hot these days. Last night was no exception. We had a hot meeting and it went late into the evening. So without any further ado, I'll get right to it. Concise is the flavor of the day today. We started last night with two public hearings. First one was on cannabis, very large issue facing actually the entire country. The province of Alberta has decided to allow each municipality to come up with its own rendition of a bylaw to deal with smoking of cannabis and also where retail outlets will be. The public hearing last night was on the retail outlet side of things. Our staff is proposing that we do 150 meters between retail locations, which is a city block in Cochrane, a town block in our case, and that would mean that not a retail outlet would be back to back, side by side, and hopefully not on every corner of our community. Also not allowing the cannabis retail to be in residential commercial, so not in the subdivisions, but only in the downtown core. So staff are saying that we would see possibly 2 to 3 only be allowed in all of Cochrane if the bylaw was to be passed as it was written and handed to council last night. So that was just a public hearing. Council heard from people about what they thought about that bylaw, and we will be voting on that soon. Next public hearing was on a redesignation of land use at a 324 3rd Street West, land use from just a change that landowner is looking for. So public hearing on that. Then we moved right into the agenda, which was quite thick and lengthy. I've got it here with me. I'm referring to my notes. I've almost used up an entire notebook so far in this term, so it looks like about a notebook every 6 months is kind of the way it's going. Take a lot of notes. Actually, before we get started, I just wanted to mention the tragedy at 5th Railway Crossing on last Friday. Our thoughts go out to the family and all those affected by the fatality at the tracks. Also to the CP Rail crew, that could not have been easy, and also to all of our first responders that have to deal with situations like that. So our thoughts are with you. Not a good scene, obviously, for anybody involved and also our entire community. That being said, moving back into the agenda, I've got a lot of notes here, so just bear with me, but the first thing we dealt with, actually, we had a delegation from the BMX Association of Cochrane. They obviously work out of the Ag Society lands up on the hill. They are growing. They gave us a report on what they do, who they are, and what they do for our community, and it was pretty cool to see all of what they are doing and the needs. They didn't come asking for money or for more land, just a bit of an update, and we referred them to our Parks and Rec Committee to deal with, which we've newly formed to deal with all of these requests coming forward. So it was good to hear from them and see what they're up to. The next delegation was the Cochrane Area Event Society. I think most are aware we made some changes in personnel and some changes that directly reflect how we are dealing with events. So there was a tender package put out for people that were interested in helping us with events. This group, Cochrane Area Event Society, are helping with the Canada Day celebration. The town is going to assist rather than lead that this year. So they gave us a report on what they're doing and how that is shaping up. So very exciting, lots of action happening there, cake cutting, flag raising, a church service, fireworks of course, and a whole lot of local bands, etc. So more to come on that, but that's looking good and shaping up nicely. Next, moving right along into bylaws. There was a lot of bylaws. We set the tax rate. This is not new news. This was just a formality basically to set the tax rate that we voted on back during budget setting. So 3.06% has not changed, but we had to pass a bylaw to make it official. So we did that. We did the community revitalization levy, which is a special bylaw down in the quarry section of town where we collect taxes in a separate way to allow for a collection of a fund to deal with some projects that can be used right in that section of town. So that was done. Supplementary tax levy, supplementary community revitalization levy, and then the big one of the night was the off-site levy bylaw. This bylaw, if you're not aware, is very important to the community, and it is the levy that tells developers what they will pay for in projects. So I'm going to really go through the Reader's Digest version of it. Very important, so I don't want to make it seem like it's not, but the off-site levy bylaw is a formula that basically the planning staff come up with a list of projects. We deem it's very complicated, but there's a formula placed on them whether they are growth projects or a project for the entire community. A growth project would be the bridge. Most of that is coming from off-site levies to pay for it. One that would be shared would be the new RCMP detachment, where we could say that growth is why we need a new RCMP detachment. We also need it, and it will facilitate some of our community bylaw enforcement. So we can argue that existing residents should pay for a portion. So that is what's happening with that particular project. But basically, to go through the entire document, it was just first reading last night, so lots to come on that, and I won't bore you with all the details, but there is a large report and very detailed where we go through maps, and there are sections where the town is broken into 16 different regions. You probably can't see it from there, but just showing that yes, we look at maps and diagrams when we make these decisions. So very important levy. Council just heard it for the first time, so there will be a non-statutory public hearing. We've decided to hear from development industry more, and just anybody that wants to come and speak, please do so at the May 28th public hearing that we set last night. So moving on, public hearing done on that. Bylaws. Then we moved into business license bylaw. So there was a lot of conversation about that last night. The business license bylaw was revamped and given reading last night. A lot of changes coming around in the mobile vendor section of it, specifically food trucks. There was a pilot done obviously last year, some changes made. Council approved it last night, so essentially, again, Reader's Digest version, food trucks will be allowed to be within 25 meters of a business, a competing business. They will be 150 meters from an event. The events will have to have permission, a food truck will have to have permission from an event organizer to be included in the event. We passed a busker fee of $0, where essentially town staff would like to keep track, a database of buskers in the community, so that we can actually reach out to you if you are a busker and invite you to events. It wasn't a money grab at all. The council decided to make it a $0 fee, so that, but just a way of keeping track of who's busking and who's not, and a way of getting a hold of you. So you can find more information out if you want to call the town on this whole business license bylaw. But essentially, I think we streamlined the food truck section and cut out a lot of red tape, and hopefully that will make the existing businesses happy as well as food trucks happy. Next We moved into Parks and Rec Committee. We adjusted the terms of reference on that. The councillor, which we appointed as Councillor McFadden, will be the chair of the committee and also hold a non-voting section, or non-voting member, I guess, of the committee, where she can help run the committee, but not really influenced by voting. So and also we added, it was a kind of a miss on our part, but we caught it thanks to Councillor Reid for bringing that forward. He asked that the Spray Lake Sawmill Family Sports Centre have a voice on the table, so we did that again last night too. Moving into new business, smoking bylaw amendment update. So again, now we're dealing with cannabis. So it's a big topic of conversation. I've been traveling the province and talking to colleagues in other municipalities. It's a big deal how we're going to deal with cannabis. So staff gave us an update of what they're looking to do with our smoking bylaw. The City of Calgary has come out and said they will not allow any public consumption of cannabis, so you would have to do it similar to alcohol, where it would be a private property only. We have not given any readings to our bylaw yet, so we're still looking for feedback on that, so please stay tuned or reach out and give us your voice on what you're thinking about cannabis. Like I said, it's a big deal. Next, we heard from our municipal enforcement. We have gotten reports from our RCMP in the past on an update, annual update. We have had updates from our fire. We've had updates from Alberta Health Services, and this is now municipal enforcement update. This is the first one of its kind, and it's kind of set a benchmark so that every year municipal enforcement can come back and give us an update on bylaw calls, what kind of bylaws are being tested, what the community is up to, how many tickets we've given, just so that we have a benchmark so that every year we can kind of really zero in on what's affecting you and how we can improve things to make things better for everybody. So, and that was Ms. Ruddle's last presentation to council, as she's retiring in June, so we wish her all the best in her retirement and thank you for her 21 years of service for the community. Not an easy job in municipal enforcement. Next, this is kind of a big deal too. Council decided to, I was in receipt of an email from AUMA, our group of municipalities of Alberta that band together to advocate to the province and to the federal government on issues that we're all affected on. I received a letter to sign my name to, so I went to council last night to ask for an endorsement, whether council agreed on signing a letter to send to Prime Minister Trudeau on our support for the Trans Mountain Pipeline Expansion Project. Council was unanimous in saying that we would like to see that project move forward, so I will be signing that letter and sending that in today. We had a couple notices of motion. Those will be coming forward soon. I proclaimed the week of May 20th to 26th Public Works Week, so that's a proclamation for this week, or next I guess it is. And then that was about it. That was a wrap on council. I think I got through everything pretty quickly. Hopefully it didn't bore anybody too much. It was good to see everybody at the trade fair last weekend. Got some really good feedback on this video, so I will keep doing this. It seems that people seem to have a need to watch and like what we're hearing, so I'll keep doing it as long as people are watching. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.